राहुल
जी।
मैंने देखा सोलोमन जो है इथियोपिया से वो भी जुड़ गए हैं, कनेक्ट हो गए हैं वो भी। मैंने देखा,
वो
नाम
निर्मल,
देखा सोलोमन।
हाँ हाँ आ गए।
बस, हाँ, तो प्रोफेसर शहनाज का और प्रोफेसर सोलोमन का आज लेक्चर है ना।
हाँ।
मैं अब चलो दोनों जुड़ते थे।
किसका करना बोल दो ना।
वो तो मैं मिलाऊंगा। हाँ, ओके राहुल, मैं शुरू करता हूँ, है बेटा।
हाँ ठीक है, ठीक है।
Good afternoon, dear delegates of this international webinar, which we are organizing since last month from 16th of August. So far, we have already conducted 6 sessions. Today is the 7th session. As you all know that this international webinar we are organizing is on the title Exploring Antiquity of Jainism in Asia, Africa, and America. And today is 27th September, Sunday, and today is the 7th session. I welcome to all of you. You have been very kind enough to joining this session every Sunday and enjoying the presentations. I'm sure that you will also enjoy today's 2 important presentations. One is by Professor Shehnaz Hussain Jahan from Bangladesh. Second is by Professor Solomon Tafar Mariam. He is from Ethiopia. I'm very happy to say that from Ethiopia we are getting very good cooperation, and so far we have conducted 3 presentations from Ethiopia itself. And now that it is the time, today the first speaker is Professor Shehnaz Hussain Jahan. She will talk on archaeological signatures of Jainism in Bangladesh. It's a very, very important topic for all of us. She has done a lot of work on exploration, excavation also. So I am very much happy to introduce, and I'm very glad also, I take honor to introduce Professor Shehnaz Hussain Jahan. Dr. Jahan is basically a professor of archaeology, and she is founder director of the Center for Archaeological Studies and the head of the Department of General Education at the University of Liberal Arts, Bangladesh in Dhaka. I'm audible? मेरी आवाज आ रही, सुनाई दे रहा है सबको? Yes. राहुल, मेरी आवाज आ रही है? Am I audible to all of you? Okay. Hello, Rahul. And can anybody speak and tell me whether I am audible or not?
Yes, we can hear you. You are audible.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. Actually, as I told, I'm taking honor to read her biodata because it is a very enlightened one, and I myself is amazed with that thing. Her biodata. She is also involved in teaching as well as in in-depth research in the field of South and Southeast Asian art, architecture, archaeology, community archaeology, maritime archaeology, urbanization and ancient cities, as well as in cultural heritage, management, sustainable archaeotourism, heritage policy, and the law. She has so many areas where she has been working, and she is very deeply involved with that. She is also actually founder trustee, and this is a different kind of a profile of her, which I never heard. I'm hearing such kind of thing first time, that she is founder trustee and director of the Center for Heritage Studies. Besides that, she is actually advocate. She's a lawyer at Dhaka Bar since 1995. So this is a new feature of a one kind of an archaeologist with in the field of law. I wish to say that Professor Shehnaz Hussain Jahan, she actually has been a very talented, intellectual, and intelligent girl right from the, I think, birth. She passed her school education always with the first standard, but I take honor to say that she actually qualified her MA, Master in Arts, at the Islamic Art and Archaeology from the Department of Islamic History and Cultural University at Dhaka in 1991 with first class, first position. That is what we call in India as a gold medalist. So she was gold medalist, and not only in her subject, but combining all the art subjects. So you can see that she topped the University of the Arts subject. And then from Bangladesh, she turned to the India, and she came to India in the Deccan College in Pune to do the MPhil and then PhD under the program of ICCR, that is Indian Council of Cultural Relation of our External Affairs Ministry. So she did from and took the advantage of that scholarship, and she did that MPhil as well as PhD. She did PhD in sailing across 7 seas, a study of maritime trade in Bengal. That is before Portuguese took it over, and she completed in 2004. She actually has been a very some kind of a diversity of the programs. She is in the Department of Ancient Indian History, Cultural, Archaeology, and various kinds of things she studied over here under that. And then the most important, that she has also actually accomplished a certificate course on remote sensing. She did in remote sensing from my department, from ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, where I had been working, from Department of Space. And I know this, where she did, is a National Remote Sensing Agency in Hyderabad, where I, sometime long back, I was also have done some work over there in that program before I took the lots of satellite programs. But I'm very much happy that as an archaeologist, she is also archaeologist of remote sensing programs, etc. And this gives me opportunity to do work, share with her, and to do some kind of a collaborative studies with her in Bangladesh. She is the author of the 4 books, and her all 4 books are published by top class publishers from the Oxford University, etc. And as a professional, I'm very happy and delighted to share with all of you, my friends, that she is a great archaeologist, and she has built up a record of renewable experience from the participating in the various kinds of excavation programs in Rajasthan in India, Karnataka, Nagpur in Maharashtra, Odisha, and as well as in other countries also, like in Nepal in the Kapilvastu, then in the various other countries like Myanmar, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, lots of, and she has big experience. Then on the top of that, for her own country in Bangladesh, she has carried out lots of exploratory, work, research work in that, and she has done in Palampura, then I think Palampur, then Mahasinghavan, Bajarhat, I'm sorry, I may be wrong somewhere in pronunciation, but Kamarganda, etc. And in 2006, she has done also excavated very recently, I should say in last 10, 15 years in one Bateshwar in Niskundu district of Bangladesh. So she has, I think I should say, the wide variety of experience and excavation experience also. And so I think she has done a lot of work in Bangladesh. So it is very useful to listen today about our Jainism, where she found the signatures of Jainism in this excavation in Bangladesh. And then I would like to say at the two top awards which she received, you see, the Ananya Top 10 2008 award from the significant contribution in the field of archaeology in Bangladesh. And then she also got Asia Fellow Award in 2010 under the fellowship program administered by the Asian Scholarship Foundation under the royal patronage of HRH Princess Maha Chakri. I know this program, and she got this. This is a very prestigious award, and I'm very happy that our today's speaker, Professor Shehnaz Hussain Jaha, she received this top award, and she has also received Sher-e-Bengal. It's even in India also it is very popular till now, and this is a AK Fazul Hakka Smriti Padak of 2014 she received, and which is nominated, actually she was nominated by the Bangladesh Shiksha Prajanik Society, Dhaka, and for making her significant contributions in the field of education and research. I most welcome to Professor Shahjahan, so because she, with the last few words, that she is a life member of 15 professional bodies, societies. She traveled all the way to USA, UK, Europe, Asia, many countries, and she got large, wide variety of experiences in archaeological sites, studied also museums, collections, and delivered several lectures and attended seminars, workshops, and conferences, as well as she herself organized regularly many seminars, conferences, etc. With this very brief resume, I humbly and sincerely now invite Professor Shehnaz Hussain to deliver her lectures on archaeological signatures of Jainism in Bangladesh. Please welcome. Let me give a big hand to you. Thank you very much to join us and give. You can start. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste. Namaste, thank you. Professor Rajmal Jain, I think I need some kind of permission to share my screen.
Yes.
I go to share screen and then I don't see my...
Rahul beta. Rahul. Rahul. In Rahul को बोलना पड़े. Enable. I think he has already enabled the share screen.
No?
Okay.
I don't
just
see it.
Okay. 1 minute. 1 minute.
No problem.
Just hold on.
No problem.
राहुल, तुमने स्क्रीन शेयर के लिए इनेबल नहीं किया. दोनों को चाहिएगी आज.
जी आज उनको को होल्ड बनाया है.
किसको?
ये शाह.
नहीं और तुम एक बार इनेबल कर दो उनको. पीपीटी लोड करना जल्दी करो.
ठीक है
जल्दी से और दोनों स्पीकर के लिए चाहिएगी हैं. हाँ
जी.
और मैं आवाज लगा रहा हूं, तुम आवाज क्यों नहीं सुन रहे हो? He is doing in 1 minute.
No problem. So let's just to put this. In fact, I was trying for some time when you were introducing me and I was not getting.
Hello.
So I just wrote in the chat box.
Ma'am.
Yes. You are ready. Yes.
Option आ गया अभी.
So I go to share screen.
Yes.
And then I don't see my...
No,
file.
you have to go to documents, then download.
This.
Then you have to go.
वहाँ पे वो share का option है.
है?
हाँ?
उनके सामने जो शेयर का ऑप्शन है वहां जाके उन्हें स्क्रीन शेयर करनी पड़ेगी।
You are using Shaina, you are using laptop, right?
Yes, Mac.
So so you go to your screen,
Yes,
share
share
screen.
screen. I went to share screen.
हाँ
And
राहुल
then I
बताते
don't
जाओ,
see-
बताते जाओ राहुल, बताते जाओ, बोलो राहुल।
उसके बाद शेयर स्क्रीन के बाद जो भी आपका
file?
पीपीटी ऑन होगा वहां पे क्लिक करना है। पीपीटी पहले ऑन करके रखनी पड़ेगी आपको।
PPT,
PPT
can
on
you
है।
turn on your PPT? Ready, PPT ready?
is on, dear, but I don't see the PPT here.
No, because you have to
स्क्रीन शेयर ऑप्शन ऑन किया आपने, बेसिक में जाना है।
अच्छा, बेसिक, हाँ, बेसिक
बेसिक,
डेस्कटॉप,
हाँ,
व्हाइट
बेसिक में
बोर्ड,
आपको पीपीटी
आईफोन,
दिखेगी।
पैड।
No, you go to basic.
बेसिक
Yes.
में स्क्रीन शेयर, व्हाइट बोर्ड, आईफोन और उसके नीचे आपकी पीपीटी होगी, उसके नीचे की लाइन में।
Please see
पावर
below.
पॉइंट, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट पॉइंट, बट
हाँ,
वो तो देखा ही नहीं जा रहे हैं
एडवांस में नहीं जाना है आपको,
ना, बेसिक में ही हो। बट
बेसिक में
बेसिक
ही।
में वो फाइल तो देखा ही नहीं जा रहे हैं।
फाइल कौन से फॉर्मेट में है वैसे? ओपन करके रखी है बैक साइड में,
आप
दूसरे
आप
विंडो।
ओपन है,
PPT को ओपन करके रखिए, PPT ओपन
है,
ओपन ही है।
ओपन।
Can I share the whole entire screen?
Yes, your laptop screen, that is what he's saying.
स्क्रीन शेयर कर दो, वो किए तो भी चलेगी।
हाँ,
हाँ,
कैसे करना बोलो, बताते जाओ, बताते जाओ।
व्हाइट बोर्ड के पहले स्क्रीन नाम का जो बटन है वहां पे सिलेक्ट करना है, नीचे जो शेयर का बटन है वहां पे क्लिक करना है।
ओके।
देने रखो नीचे को।
आपने कर दिया?
No, I'm not getting it.
आप रिमूव करके फिर से एंट्री कर सकते हो मीटिंग में।
Yes, of course, why not?
और सब एंट्री से पहले वो पीपीटी ऑन करनी है, ऑन करके रखनी है।
वो
ठीक
on ही है।
ऑन ही है ना?
I
ओके।
kept
नहीं,
it
वो-
on.
मतलब he says के you have to connect again to the reconnect,
Okay.
and before that only you have to keep ready your PPT.
क्या लगा?
Okay, yes, देखिए है पाइसी এখন पाइसी, right?
You got it right?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
You can see, right?
Yes, I can see. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. In
Yeah,
fact,
Rahul, जरा इसको
thank
बड़ा
you.
हाँ, very good. Now it is yes, very good. Yes, please go ahead now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It took some time. So
No,
thank
it's
you
okay.
very much.
Don't worry, it happens.
Good afternoon to you all. I'm very thankful to Mr. Nirmal Kumar Jain Shetty, President of All India Digambar Jain Mahasabha, and Professor Dr. Rajmal Jain Kothari Vice President of All India Digambar Jain Heritage Preservation, for inviting me to deliver a lecture on archaeological signatures of Jainism in Bangladesh in this international webinar. Thank you very much indeed for giving me this opportunity to present Jaina landscapes in Bangladesh. I am truly honored and privileged. As you understand from the title, area of study of my lecture is Bangladesh, an independent country since 1971. And I will focus only on the archaeological evidences found within the present Bangladesh. To begin with, let me introduce Bangladesh briefly. Bangladesh is wedged between the Indian states of West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram, except for a tiny border strip shared with Myanmar on the southeast. The southern coast is open to the Bay of Bengal. Physiographically, most of the landmass is flat, comprised of a moribund delta, a stabilized delta, active floodplains, and a tidal delta that lie in the central and southern parts. A section of the north is a sandy alluvial fan, a basin of large lake-like bodies, locally known as haors, lies in the northeast, and three bits of Pleistocene terraces lie in the north, the Barinth, the center, the Madhupur tracts, and the east, the Tipura surface. Hilly regions in the country are uncommon. They lie only in the southeast. Chittagong Hill tracts and a tiny section of the northeast Sylhet. The Tropic of Cancer cuts through Bangladesh near its central parts. The Bay of Bengal is situated in the south, and the Himalayas and other highlands surround Bangladesh in the north and the east. These factors giving rise to tropical monsoon climate. The average annual temperature in Bangladesh is between 18.9 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. Humidity in Bangladesh is high throughout the year. The annual rainfall varies between 1,397 and 3,880 millimeter. The total landmass of Bangladesh is covering an area of only 148,460 square kilometers and the most densely populated countries in the world today. The exact number of Jains in Bangladesh today is not known. However, at present, there are 700 Marwari families living in Bangladesh, among which some of them are adhering to Jainism. All Jains in Bangladesh today are followers of Shwetambar sects or tradition. They are now spread across Dhaka, Mymensingh, Khulna, Kushtia, Borishal, Chittagong, Rajshahi, Nagaon, Rangpur, Dinajpur, and Bogura districts. The Calcutta riot of 1926, the Great Depression of 1929-30, partition of India in 1947, the communal riot of 1964, the wars of 1965 and 1971 caused the departure of the Jain community from Bangladesh. 16th century to the early part of the 20th century, however, their presence was very large and involved mainly in the cloth and jute trade, as well as banking, money lending, hundis, that is bills of exchange, etc. Two temples dedicated to the worship of Tirthankar are still to be seen at Shatmatha of Bogura town and Bokshi Lane of Meherpur town in Bangladesh. These are architecturally of the 19th century origin. There is also 17th century Mahabir temple, said to be a Mahabir temple, found in Bangladesh. And now the photograph you see, this is at Tetulia in Dinajpur, Panchagod district, Bangladesh. And another, you see, this is Dinajpur, again, 18th century, 17th, 18th century monument in Dinajpur, which are said to be a Mahabir temple. We do have some practitioners at the moment in Dinajpur district. Now, just to inform you that I'm also from Dinajpur district, Bangladesh, so northern part of Bangladesh, where in fact the archaeological signatures of Jainism mostly came from. Now, if we ask a definite questions regarding the arrival of the philosophy to this land, I mean today's Bangladesh, Jaina community and their historical development in this part of South Asia and the relationship between Jaina community and other contemporary communities. Chronological overview of the political, social, cultural and economic practices of the Jaina community in Bangladesh since remote past, then most of the answers are extremely nebulous because the subject is still riddled with various unresolved pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. This is because there is no problem-oriented archaeological research has been conducted so far in Bangladesh on Jainism or Jaina cultural assemblages, except a few iconographical studies carried out by Gargier Mavison, Gaurishwar Bhattacharya, Kullan Kumar Ganguly, P.C. Dasgupta, Gauri Shankar De, Isabella Yuni, Devala Mitra, and a few historical writing, R.C. Majumdar, Niharanjan Rai, P.C. Bakshi, Nupur Das Gupta, etc. They stray references from the literature, epigraphical and iconographical records they are based on. However, to understand the political, social, cultural, and economic aspects of Jainism in Bangladesh in detail, one needs to carry out a systematic investigation and research. As I have already mentioned, I will confine my lecture on the archaeological evidences so far discovered and reported from Bangladesh. It will be an overview of the existing research. Although Jainism, a religion of some 6 million people of the world today, has been continuously practiced since about the 6th century BCE, and southern part of the present West Bengal witnessed the advent of Jainism during the lifetime of Mahavir, who came to Rar region to preach his doctrines. We learn from Bodhisattva Badana Kalpalata that Jainism was a living religion in Pundrabardhana, North Bengal, in the 4th century BCE. The then leader of the Jaina temple was Bhadrabahu, a native of Pundrabardhana, that is today's North Bangladesh, who is credited with the compilation of Kalpasutra. After his departure, one of his disciples, Godas by name, took over the charge of the Jaina temple at Pundrabardhana. His followers are called Gadasagana. Based on this piece of information, scholars are considering that Bengal came under the influence of the Jaina influence by the 4th, 3rd century BCE. Although we have not found or could not identify any Jaina temple of this period so far in Bangladesh, possibly due to lack of research, we may accept this date for the arrival of Jainism in Bangladesh because excavation of Mahasthangarh, the capital city, the photograph you see, this is from Mahasthangarh. Excavation of Mahasthangarh, capital city known as Pundranagara or Pundrabardhana, North Bengal, located in Bogura district, Bangladesh, has revealed that habitation of the site goes back to the late 4th century BCE. The Buddhist text Dibbabadana mentions the Emperor Ashoka is said to have put to death 1800 Ajivikas for the wrongs committed by Nirgranthas of Pundrabardhana. From this legend, scholars put forward the arguments that during Ashoka's reign, Jainism had established a foothold in Pundrabardhana. In 1879, Alexander Cunningham discovered a Jaina image while visiting Mahasthangarh. The image is now in the Borendra Research Museum, Rajshahi, since 1912. This is also from Mahasthangarh Tamraduar. Now, from Paharpur, we have a significant and a very well known that copper plate inscription, which was the earliest evidence so far, epigraphical evidence come with the hand of our K.N. Dikshit, the excavator. So a copper plate inscription from Paharpur dated in the year 159 of the Gupta era. According to Dikshit, it is dated January 479 CE, found during excavation of the temple at Paharpur. So the temple you see, and it is excavated from this second terrace excavation, it has been found. The copper plate recorded that Natha Samma and his wife, Rami, had approached the district officer and the city council with the request according to the procedure practice prevalent in the locality that they may be allowed to deposit 3 dinaras in return for 1.5 kullabapas of land distributed among 4 different villages to be endowed in perpetuity for the maintenance of requisites of the worship of arhats, such as sandalwood, incense, flower, lamps, etc., and for the construction of resting place at the Bihara of the Jaina preceptor Guhanandi at Bhattagahali. Now, Bhattagahali, there are some important issues. One is the practice of offering flowers mentioned in the record. As we know, the modern Digambar Jains do not permit the use of flowers, as insects are likely to be present in the flowers and may be destroyed in the process. However, Dikshit points out that probably the old Nirganthas had allowed the offering of flowers. The Shwetambar Jains, however, do not have any objection to use flowers. Dikshit thinks that the copper plate was recorded during the reign of Buddhagupta. And the place Bhattagahali in Pundrabardhan has been identified as a Goalvita. And now the Goalvita is just north of this temple and is just a northern gateway, and the northwestern part of the monastic cell is actually stand on Goalvita village. So, and also recent excavation, there were some temples, foundation of temples also found, and we had done some remote sensing on that area, some GPR survey, and then we found many temples and structural findings. But however, we have not point out that as a Jaina temple yet. If we trust these copper plate inscriptions, then Dikshit thinks that both the finding place of the copper plate and the Bihara should not be very far from each other. Dikshit also reported a discovery of a standing Jiva image in bronze on a lotus pedestal, either flanked by figures of yakshas on either side. This was recovered within the Paharpur complex in the western wing of the northern wall in front of 170 number cell, and this is also on the Goalvita village. Now, Dikshit suggests that probably Guhanandi of the inscription was one of the disciples of Jaina affiliated to the Digambar lineage, and his date to be in 200 BCE. Scholars had raised a question regarding the provenance of the Paharpur copper plate, as this inscription was not found in situ, and it is came from much later layer. It was secondary deposit, probably brought here from a different place. There is another reference to a Jaina institution in ancient Bangladesh. This is in the Jagadishpur copper plate inscription. Now, Jagadishpur copper plate inscription of Kumaragupta I of the year 128 or 447 CE from Rajshahi, Bangladesh. The inscription records here This is also very near to Paharpur because it is Rajshahi, is in Nagaon district, in the Rajshahi division only. So the inscription records the purchase of land by 3 persons in order that they may be granted to support a Bihara at the Siddharthana at Mesikamra. Secondly, for a small Biharika built for the worship of Arhat, as well as for a temple for the sun god Sahasra Rashmi. Some scholars try to identify this in favor of Buddhist institution, but some others are in favor of Jaina monastery. Now, all the 3 inscriptions mentioned above are dated to the mid-5th century CE and possibly referring to Jaina establishments within a closed zone of Pundrabardhana. So when we are talking about Bangladesh, but it is not all other parts except the northern part of Bangladesh. That northern means northwestern part of Bangladesh, which is Pundrabardhana. After 5th century, we do not have any material evidence, nor do we hear about at least 200 years. And then we hear again from the Chinese Buddhist monk and scholar Xuanzang. His accounts on Pundrabardhana, he says, I quote, "The people esteem learning. There are about 20 Shangaramas with some 3,000 priests. They study both the little and great vehicle. There are some 100 Deva temples where sectaries of different schools congregate. The naked Nirgranthas are most numerous." Same he mentions for Shamatat. The naked ascetics called Nirgrantha are most numerous, he says. Now, it is clear from the above description that Xuanzang found many Digambar Jains in Pundrabardhan and Shamatat in the 7th century, as he is saying. T.N. Ramchandram, the first explorer of the area of Lalmai Mainamati, before that, this is Poshipo of Xuanzang, which we identify with Bashu Bihara, where you see there are 2 Biharas and 1 temple and some other structural deposits. And it is now excavated by the Department of Archaeology. So this is Mainamati, Lalmai Mainamati, the all Biharas, temples, and many structures. You see, it is Lalmai Mainamati, Shalban Bihara. Yeah, it's recent excavations of Lalmai Mainamati. And here, this T.N. Ramchandran, when he was exploring this area in 1944-45, a discovery of a Jaina image at Mainamati, he reported. But he does not provide any information of this image, and the image is lost forever. So we do not have any chance to, examine that too. So, but what it is suggesting that it suggests the Xuanzang's report that in Shamatat also there was a Jaina practice, and the Jainas are there in Shamatat region, because we do not have any other images or inscriptions from Shamatat region. But we really need a concise and very specific research, because as we see that the Jainism is traveling through the trade routes, and then Shamatat Mainamati is very much close proximity to the Bay of Bengal and in connection with the Southeast Asian routes. So this site is very important. So we have to look at more why we are not getting any Jaina images from here. Then again, we do not have any evidence for next 200 years. No sound. And then we are getting from 9th to the 11th centuries, we have a few Jaina sculptures from Bangladesh again. Now this is sculpture, beautifully carved Eastern Indian school of sculpture we are getting. So this is sculpture, what you get from the Borendra Research Museum. This is Borendra Research Museum, and this is a seated Rishabhanath. And the sculptures is preserved in the Borendra Research Museum and dated to the 10th century CE, where you see that first Tirthankar Rishabhanath seated in the center and the 23 following jinas surrounding him. except the first and 23rd, all other jinas almost identical. First jina Rishabhnath in the center has long hair, and the 23rd jina Parshvanath at the bottom left is marked by the snake hood behind his head. Next, we have another beautiful piece is in Dinajpur Museum, Bangladesh. Next, Bangladesh, and this is Rishabhnath preserved in the Dinajpur Museum, Bangladesh, as I said, which is surrounded by 24 jinas. This is also a very common feature in Bengal, in Bangladesh and Bengal, because normally, usually we see 23 jinas surrounding, but here we see 24 jinas surrounding the central figure of the Tirthankar. Another image we see, this is Parshvanath, standing Parshvanath. Another thing is here in this Rishabhnath image, you see all the jinas are standing. Where the Borendra Research Museum all are seated, here all are standing. Now the Parshvanath image also very beautiful, and it is also preserved in the Dinajpur Museum, Bangladesh. And this Jina figure is 11th century AD, 11th century CE, and it is represented by a seven-hooded snake canopy, and also there are many interesting features we see here, as we see the Navagrahas, we see Dikpalas riding animals around him, and the goddess Chakreshwari sits below on the pedestal. And this is also showing that the donor figures suggesting this. And all these, the Dikpalas in concern, we see here Ashtadikpalas, and Indra, Agni, Yama, Nairita, Varena, Vayu, Kubera, and Ishana are depicted in two images of Pundrabardhana. And God Mavison informs us that Dikpala figures have not been represented on Jaina sculptures in any other region of India except Bengal. Hence, these specific features can be regarded as a pure Bengali invention. Above mentioned images belong to the Digambar sect, maybe, as because we see all the images are nude. Based on these images, we can maybe come to conclude that the Shwetambar sect seems to have had no followers in Bengal during the period when these images were carved, roughly between the 9th and 11th century CE. But I think before concluding or saying these things clearly, we must carry out further research on this subject. We also have some more sculptures like standing Mahavira from 10th, 11th century preserved in the Bangladesh National Museum. Another interesting feature, Tirthankar Shantinath from Mandoil, Godagari, Rajshahi, now preserved in the Borendra Research Museum, where Navagraha with Ganesha are shown on the pedestal and surrounded by the 24-seated Tirthankaras, and dated 11th century CE. Another is standing Shantinath preserved in the Borendra Research Museum, Rajshahi. A fragmentary iconic representations is on the display of Ashutosh Museum of Indian Art, we found, and that may be collected from Bangladesh. They are saying it is from Faridpur, but we do not have any other idea about this. And the presence of an inscription on the pedestal of the standing image of Chandraprabha from Dinajpur, now in the Bangladesh National Museum, inscribed a word that mentions Chacha Deva, the name of a donor. So we get the donor also. So these are the few, evidences we find from right from the 3rd century BCE to the 12th century CE, and then in between we have some gaps, and then we get 17th, 18th, 19th century with the colonial time, with the traders. And then again, we have now few. So regarding the artistic perspectives or iconography, Gaureshwar Bhattacharya, Mavison, they are starting on that, and they are in concluding. They are in suggestion that the artists who carved the two Dinajpur jinas found new and unprecedented solutions for incorporating the Dikpala figures, thus reflecting Borendra's experimental spirit in their inventiveness and creativeness, and also the placement of the Dikpalas in reverse order, high up on the branches of the Chaitya above the Rishabnath from Kaharul, Dinajpur, Bangladesh. That is also another image, and where we see that the mundane space defined by the gods of the directions functions as an extended umbrella crowning and protecting the jinas. And then we see the inclusion of selected Dikpala figures is in a narrative context, as seen on the Parshanath sculpture from Kanshama, Dinajpur, is a very innovative and unparalleled. Here, the Dikpalas function as a henchman of Parsha's enemy, Kamatha, in the Upasargo episode, painting to the imaginativeness and originality of the artists in ancient Borendra. So we also have this Jaina work, artwork, and thinking that maybe these are could have been commissioned by Jaina merchant communities between 19th and 12th centuries. And as I said, saying anything concretely, saying anything, stating anything, concluding comments clearly, we really need very well-designed, problem-oriented research on Jainism in Bangladesh. Otherwise, we cannot say these things. So this is an overview of the research so far have been in Bangladesh. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Shahnaz Hussain. It's a very nice, very nice, excellent, magnificent presentation. You gave overall picture of the archaeological evidences of Jainism in Bangladesh. I now invite, I think there was already one question which I could see from some Mr. Jainam or something like that. Rahul or somebody, can you unmute your mic and ask question?
यस यस जैनम मार्केटिंग नाम से था, लेकिन अभी उनका वीडियो और माइक बंद है दोनों.
आप अपना क्वेश्चन पूछिए एक बार जरा. व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन? जैनम मार्केटिंग के नाम से वो उनका बंद है अभी?
जी अभी चालू है.
चालू हुआ. हाँ अभी आपका. यस, कैन यू आस्क व्हाट इज योर क्वेश्चन? You asked question.
No any question.
आपने हैंड रेज किया है इसलिए हमने सोचा. आपका हैंड रेज है ना?
Sorry for interruption.
हाँ. Okay. If there is no question, okay, don't worry. Professor Shahnaz, I have one question.
Yes, please.
See, you told that your beginning of Jainism is with Bhadrabahu in Bangladesh. That is very well known also, right? He was from Bangladesh, and that Punravardhan, that is the place. I think you are also, you belong to somewhere close to that only.
Dinajpur, Bangladesh. Yes.
Dinajpur, yeah. So you want to say that starting from that point, the Jainism started, or the signatures or the establishment started, and then it went all over the Bangladesh, because I could not see anything on the eastern side. Everything is on the western side.
True. So what my question is, because I think there should be more specific research on this issue, because I cannot say right now that there was no Jainism, or I cannot say yes, because before carrying out the research properly. But as far the existing material or the reported material so far, I have done the survey. I found the museums is just consign only the Pundrabardhana area, which is northwestern part of Bangladesh, and only one reference that Jaina image has been reported by T.N. Ramchandran from Shamatar, Lalmai Mainamati area, but that has not been that has been lost forever. We have never seen, and no one has seen. So it is only mentioning. So we do not know about that. And from the eastern part, like central part or other parts of Bangladesh, we don't get any Jaina images. So we don't know whether, but if we look at also the 17th to 19th century, then also we see mostly in the northern Bengal northern Bangladesh is occupied. But today they are spread all over the country. Very few families, 300 or 400 families, which are spread across the country. So we do not know. I cannot make you this, but we have not so far, received any images, any sculptures or inscriptions saying that. Our Bhadrabahu cases is, yes, that is there. And but why I'm saying that from 4th century BC or the 3rd century BC onwards, so far we know that Jainism traveled through the trade routes, and the urbanization, growing urbanization and trading facilities, spreaded the religion or philosophy. So if this is the subject we take, we trust in it, then I see that Mahasthan Gaur, Wari Bhateshwar, where I told you that Wari Bhateshwar and Mahasthan Gaur, these two sites are early historic sites, and in Mahasthan Gaur and Wari Bhateshwar both radiocarbon dating, giving the dates of late 4th century BCE and early 3rd century. So late 4th century BC onwards, there is a trading with Southeast Asia, and the urbanization ground. So that may be facilitated by looping the network, connecting the middle and upper Ganga Valley. So possibilities are there, but we have not found any material evidence so far, because we have not seen the subject that way. And also that while excavating, if we do not look at that particularly the cultural material like pottery and all, if we do not have idea about the Jainism, and we have to look at, because as you know that Buddhism and Brahmanism, these researches are many. People were concerned, carried out lots of research on these aspects, but Jainism in terms of Jaina research is not have not been done. These are only when people are working on other subject, finding these evidences. So I think we have to look at the subject more in detail and do further research. Yes.
Okay, good. And suppose if I, can you hear me?
Yes,
Are you able
yes,
to hear? Yeah.
clearly. Clearly, yes.
Suppose if we want to do some undertake excavation, then which area you will recommend? Which area you will recommend
I
in
think,
central or east where we can undertake exploration?
I think the work, if we need to start any research in terms of Jaina history, then I will again prefer it is a northwestern part, starting from northwest, and then look in the center and the northeast or southeast. Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. There is a question, I think, from the number 2. Who is on number 2? Can you unmute? Hello, yes. You can ask question, please. Yes.
मेरी आवाज सुनाई पड़ रही है?
हाँ,
Yes.
बिल्कुल आवाज आ रही है, बहुत अच्छी आ रही है. प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन.
ये मैं चाहता हूं कि बांग्लादेश का इन्होंने बहुत अच्छा स्थापत्य और प्राचीन मूर्तियां दिखलाई कुछ वहां के म्यूजियम में. वहां पे कोई अभी मंदिर भी हैं इस तरह के जैन मंदिर जो जिसमें प्राचीन मूर्तियां हो? बांग्लादेश में इस तरह का है क्या?
Yes. So what happened, as I told you, that during the 17th, 18th, 19th centuries, there were some traders, and it is believed that they came from Gujarat or Rajasthan for trading, and they had some temple called Mahavira temple. And these we have found, and now many of the temples, that converted to Shiva temple. So when I go inside and I see the Jaina sculptures, they, kept aside. So there are few areas, and I have been and I found temples which has been shifted to somewhere. It is Jaina Mandir to now Shiva temple or Durga Mandir. But now Jaina sculptures, they have not thrown out. Those are also within inside the temple, they kept it. So yeah, some of them I have seen. And
Okay.
we do not have so far that new Jaina temple in Bangladesh that way. No.
But these are also in the northwest only, right? These are
in the
also
northwest. Yes,
northwest.
in Bogura, Rangpur, Dinajpur,
There is
Panchgad.
one more question from, I think, number 4. Number 4, can you unmute? Char number, yes. Please unmute and ask question.
हेलो
हाँ, आवाज आ रही है, पूछिए.
हाँ मैंने एक 11th सेंचुरी में
Yes.
असीमगंज में जो बांग्लादेश की बॉर्डर से 20 किलोमीटर दूर है, इंडिया और बांग्लादेश की बॉर्डर में, वहां पे एक जीनदत्त सूरी जी. हेलो.
Yes. Yes.
हाँ,
Yes,
तो
you say it is the border area. Yes.
हाँ, तो वहां पे एक पुराना मंदिर है असीमगंज और जियागंज में. तो उस साइड पे आपने कभी देखा है?
No, which side in Jiaganj? It is in the in which side border?
Ganga-
Malda border or Karimganj?
From
With
Kolkata is
Assam?
220 kilometers in West Bengal only.
West Bengal.
Yes, Asimganj and Jiaganj. There is a Jindatt Suri ji Maharaj Sahib वहां पे आए थे.
No, I haven't seen. No, I'm sorry.
Okay,
no.
तो वहां पे 14 temples है. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि शायद वो अंदर भी गए हो उस साइड पे थोड़े.
I see. We should look at, yeah.
हो सकता है, might be. We have to explore that thing. Explore
True.
करने की जरूरत है, और ये हम लोगों को, जैनों को काम करना पड़ेगा
We
इसके
need
लिए.
to have an exploration. Yes, we need to
Yes.
have exploration.
I agree with you. There is one more question, Professor Shehnaz, there is one. Yeah, पूछिए मैडम, पूछिए आप. हाँ, आपका क्वेश्चन पूछिए.
Hello,
हाँ.
Jai Janendra. I want to know any ancient scriptures mention about Bangladesh, any Jainism mentioned in Bangladesh, any scriptures are there, whether we can refer?
Yeah, I didn't get you that you said it is ancient Bangladesh written?
Yeah, in any scriptures, whether it has been written in any scriptures that Bangladesh has already been, Jainism was there.
Hello, Professor Shehnaz.
Spoke out, yes, Professor Rajma.
Yeah, she is asking that any Jain scriptures are still existing which were written in Bangladesh.
No, I don't know.
You don't know, huh? Because it is, she may be interested during the time of Bhadrabahu time or later,
Right.
his disciple or any inscription or any.
I mentioned there are 3 inscriptions which are the land grants, copper plates, land grants.
Yeah.
Those 3 inscriptions are talking about Bihara, Biharika, or temple like this. But we do not have, and like from the 2nd century BCE, we have that, that Mahasthangar Brahmi inscriptions are there. But no, we do not have 2nd century BC, earlier than that, any inscriptions. We have 5th, 6th century inscription.
And between 1st century AD, that is CE, to any 10th or 11th, even up to 11th century CE, any inscriptions or any other evidence, written evidences in documentary forms?
As I said, that 3 copper plates and some images like sculptures has a pedestal. It is written in the pedestal. So written on the pedestal, some inscription. So these are only few inscriptions, written evidences.
Okay, thank you. There is one more question, I think number 4. Who is that number 4? Rahul?
He has already asked.
I think ये कोई एक हाँ
No, no,
yes
no.
please ask your question. पूछिए
Yes.
आपका प्रश्न पूछिए.
हेलो.
हाँ
जय जिनेन्द्र.
हाँ यस जयंतीलाल जी पूछिए आपका
Yes,
प्रश्न.
yes. Hello.
This was an excellent presentation, and if the paper is available in writing or in written form, it will be better that the Heritage Center collects it and keeps as a record, because
can send. I
it
can
will
send.
help us. Yeah, it will help us in our further doing the work on the Bangladesh site. and
No
all.
problem.
Second
I can send to Professor Rajmal Jain. I will send to
Yeah.
him, and then he will
Very
give
good.
you.
The second point I wanted to observe or say or ask you was whether there presently, whether any attempt is made to preserve those sites or they are just neglected. I can understand
fact-
the situation and like this. But
In fact, this is a very common scenario all over, that we are very bad in heritage preservation, you know. And as you know, today is a World Tourism Day. Today is 27 September is a World Tourism Day, and today's World Tourism Day theme is, tourism for rural development. This year
Yes.
theme. So we, in the morning, we were having a webinar talking about that, how we can, preserve our heritage and develop the rural development, foster rural development in the archaeological sites area and all this. You know, it is a very common scenario that sites are not very, well maintained properly. It is, it is regardless of religion, regardless of importance of the site. As you know, in Bangladesh, right from the 4th century BCE to the 18th, 19th century CE, we have a good amount of built heritage, but no one really preserved properly. So we are not in a good condition. And as Professor Rajmal Jain, when he was introducing me, he missed it, that I am now excavating a site, Bhitorgarh. Bhitorgarh archaeological site is a Bangladesh and India border. It is in the Jalpaiguri and Bangladesh border area I'm excavating right now. It is a transnational archaeological site, which is the largest fortified settlement in Bangladesh, and which has a West Bengal, Bangladesh. It is a history goes back to Pragjyotishpur, Kamrup, Kamtakuch kingdom, like this. And this is a site which is from 6th century CE. We are having a fortified settlement. Also the trade route, it is connected with Tibet, Sikkim, Nepal, Bhutan, and other part of the middle and upper Ganga, lower Ganga valley. This site, for preserving this type of archaeological heritage, I have gone twice in the High Court. I made a writ petition. As he mentioned that I'm a lawyer, I also practice heritage law, and I'm just taking to the court and making press conferences, and that the beautiful pieces I showed you in the Dinajpur Museum, I also showed you a small photo of the Dinajpur Museum, but if you see, come Bangladesh, I take you to the museum, and that you will find how you will cry when you will look at their status of preservation in
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Actually, Corona is stopping me now to visit Bangladesh. Otherwise, I would have been there. Anyway, now let us give thanks to Professor Shahnaz Hussain Jahan for a wonderful, magnificent talk. You have done really wonderful job. Very good talk by you. And we will be in touch again. And I think we should organize one dedicated webinar on Bangladesh Jainism archaeological sites. And I think we should have more collaborative work
Yes.
also for exploration. I
Yes,
think.
yes, that is very good, important. Yes, it will be great, because India has lots of experts, and all the experts and coming to the sites, observing, and it will be a good. I just want to say, Professor Rajmal Jain, you should pronounce my name properly. You
Yes.
pronounce my name several times in several accents. So my name is Shahnaz Hussain Jahan.
Husne. Oh, not Husne Jahan. And yesterday, one person gave me a call from Dubai. He told about your name, Shehnaz Hussain. I told Shehnaz Hussain, no, it is not possible. Then he told one another. Then then that gentleman made from a female to male name. In India, we have a member of parliament.
So my
So
name is
anyways,
Shehnaz
I'm sorry,
Hussain.
Shehnaz Hussain, right?
Just to say, yes, just to say. Thank
Shehnaz
you very
Hussain.
much. I look forward to see see the Professor Solomon's lecture. Yes, thank you.
Yes. So thank you very much. Okay. And now it is my humble duty to now proceed for the next talk. Next talk is by Professor Solomon Tesfi Mariam. He will give a talk on very interesting topic, which he has conducted some study in Ethiopia. He wants to talk on relevance of basic Jain ideology for conflict resolution, the case of Ethiopia. I would like to introduce him. Professor Solomon Tesfeminia Maria is actually teaching and he is working in Department of Heritage Conservation at the University of Mekelle. Actually, he did MSc in remote sensing. I think nowadays remote sensing is becoming very popular for all kinds of work. So he did MSc Masters in Science in Remote Sensing as well as in GIS. And he did from Addis Ababa University. And currently, I'm very happy to share with all of you that he is doing PhD in disaster and risk management. He is doing PhD from Arba Munch University. He also participated in certificate course of program, which is run by ISJS, that is International School for Jain Studies. And he participated in 14th and 15th International Summer School program, and he obtained a good certificate. With these words, I humbly now invite Professor Solomon Tesfemiariam to give his lecture. Please join and enable him to share the screen so that he can load his PPT. Yes, welcome, Professor Solomon. Can you hear me? Solomon, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me? Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yes, please start your lecture. You can load your PPT.
Okay.
Good. You share the screen and load PPT.
Okay, okay.
Rahul, please go to share button.
Have you seen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Done, yes. Go to the view. Go to full view. Yes, very nice.
Thank you very much. Can I start?
Yes, please start.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. But actually in Ethiopia now is a lunch time, around 12. For all of you, welcome to this presentation. Then my title is focusing on the relevance of Jain basic ideology. It is particularly for the case of Ethiopian conflict resolution. Then first of all, I would like to pass my gratitude for Professor Rajmal Jain. He's very patient and he's going to here and there for coordinate these programs. And again, for the coordinator of these programs, especially for Indian Digambar Jain Heritage Preservation Organization. Second, I would like to pass my special gratitude to Nimar Kumar Jain Sethi, the president of All Indian Digambar Jain Heritage Preservation, for his collaboration, for his patience, for his humbleness, for especially for Ethiopian scholars. Second, I would like to pass my gratitude for Shugan C. Jain, director of ICJS, and all staff member of ICJS, because we have got so many collaboration from this organization during the last 2 summer seasons. Then first, I would like to introduce the demography of Ethiopia. Ethiopia is found in the Horn of Africa. Then in Horn of Africa, Ethiopia is a landlocked country. Then in the eastern part of the country, bordered by Somalia, and in the southern part is Kenya and Uganda, and the western part is bordered by South Sudan, and in the again in the west northern parts also Sudan, and in the northern parts already bordered by Eritrea. Ethiopia is currently a landlocked country, and we have more than 85 languages with 200 dialects speaks. And this language also divided into 4 major language groups: Semitics, Cushitics, Omotics, and the Nilo-Saharan groups. Then currently the capital city of the country is Addis Ababa. Then we have around 109.2 million people. Then generally the history of Ethiopia is not generally, but for this presentation, just I divided the general history of Ethiopia in 4 parts. That means the ancient history part of Ethiopia, the medieval period, the early modern history of Ethiopia, and the contemporary history of Ethiopia. Then the ancient history of Ethiopia is covered from 1st to 11th century. Then the medieval period is from 1270 to 1769. The early modern history of Ethiopia is 1855 to 1974. And the contemporary Ethiopia is from 1975 to present. Then first, I would like to pass in the general ancient history of Ethiopia. Then this is the ancient history of Ethiopia is known by Age of Enlightenment, Age of Civilization. Then during that time, we are civilized in terms of economy, in terms of politics, and in terms of social affairs. Then this period is divided into 2, the Kingdom of Aksum and the Zaugye dynasty. These both periods are at least maybe it's some related with Indians, particularly related with Jain religion. Then the Kingdom of Aksum and Zagwe settled in Aksum. The present today of Aksum is found presently. Aksum is found in northern part of Ethiopia in Tigray regions. Then the Zagwe dynasty also settled in Lasta. Lasta is now found in Amhara region, in the regional state of Amhara around Lalibela. Then both dynasties are a monarchy dynasty. It's a militaristic monarchy dynasty. Then they had a wide reaching of foreign connection. This foreign connection, it might be commercial foreign connection, diplomatic foreign connections, or military foreign connections. Then I have said previously, this period is enlightenment and civilization period for Ethiopians. Then these civilizations also demonstrated with unique architectural history, like Aksum. This one is an Aksum. Aksum is built in 330 AD up to 520 AD. Then this area, this architectural area is very unique, very civilized area. Then the largest stele is around 33 meters. It's now is fallen. This one is a fallen one. The second one is 24-meter height. This is still available in Aksum. Then the third one is actually the third one is during Italian period is plunder, but recently it returned to Ethiopia. Then its height is around 28-meter height. The second one is the Zagwe dynasty. Then this dynasty also known by construction of different churches. That these churches is a monolithic churches. It's Rekiwan churches. Then this is a very dynamic and civilized period, and there are around 11 Rekiwan churches there. On some of Rekiwan churches depicted or remarked some swastik crosses like this one. This is a swastik symbols. Some Jain archaeologists wanted to relate this one with Jain civilizations. Then it needs some deep research on this regards. But anyhow, there is symbols, swastik symbols here. Then another symbol is also crosses here. Then it is very good for Indian archaeologists particularly. Then another well-known Rekiwan churches constructed during this period is Beta Abba Libanos. This one is also a monolithic church, a Rekiwan church. This one is Beta Danagl. It's also a monotonic church. This one is very known Rekiwan church. This is a Beta Gorgis Rekiwan church. And this one is also Yimrahanna Christos Rekiwan church. These all churches are found in Lalibela in one area, in Lalibela in one area in different groups, groups 1, group 2, and group 3. Then during this period, the Aksumites and the Zagwe dynasty had commercials and diplomat relationships with Europe, with Egypt, with Arabians, with Persia, with India, with China. It's very developed and civilized period. Then during this period, also the Aksumites and the Zagwe period had a commercial relations with different countries like India, China, and so on. Then they export a kind of items like ivory, then a shell of tortoise, then horn of rhinoceros, then hides of hippopotamus, and even exported monkey. Then during that times, you know, a slave also exported to India, exported to Europe, exported to America and others country. Then in other direction, the civilization also imported different iron materials, iron tools like this ones, iron tools from iron tools just like this one, so weapons, iron weapons. Then garments, ready-made garments also imported from different civilized or kingdoms. Then another manifestations of this period is local manufacturing. Local manufacturing is very dynamic and very civilized during these times. Then this local manufacturing is manifested as a form of pottery and form of pottery and different kind of coins. Coins made from gold, coin made from silver, a coin made from bronze. This is a manifestations of local manufacturing during that period. Another one is coinage. Coinage is very important. At this point, Aksum was the only African state in ancient time that means known by depicting of coinage. Aksumite period had their own coin. Then their export and import items is exchanged through coin. Then they had a coin. Coin is a kind of civilization at that time. Another is religion. During this period, there is some religions. Then during this period, I wanted to classify it. This one is pre-Aksumite periods and Aksumite period. Then pre-Aksumite period, there is a religions. That's religions more focused on sun, more god of sun and god of moon. Then this one is a temple of Yeha. A temple of Yeha is one of the very known temple practiced for dedicated for a great moon of God, Al-Maka. Then its dates around 700 BC. Then still the Indian archaeologists, especially the Jain community, have great interest on these sites because of this Siddhi Sila. Siddhi Sila, I think, a well-known symbols for Jain community. Then this kind of archaeological artifacts also found excavated from around Yeha. Then Jain community also very interested to conduct any a deep research on these areas. Then after the introduction of Christianity, that means around 4th century, Christianity came to Ethiopia because of this person. The name of this person is Ferminatus. He came from Greeks. Then the first Christianity is introduced by this person for Ethiopia. Then around 650 also, Islam is introduced in Ethiopia. Then the first Muslim immigrants, or the first Muslim immigrants came to Ethiopia, then warmly welcomed by the king of Aksumite during that period, around 615. Then because of these were warmly welcomed situations, now Ethiopia is guaranteed to be free from any Islamic jihad religion, jihad of Islamic religion. Another is the languages and literature of Ethiopia. Ge'ez and Sabian languages of mostly during this period, the official language of Ethiopia. Then the evidence of these languages are depicted on Izana stone and depicted on Hawlti monuments. Actually, now this is found in Eritrea. But then Eritrea was a part of Ethiopia at that time. Then this one is the inscriptions. The inscription is the sun and crescent. The sun and crescent. And again, this one is some relations with Jain religion. Then also it's also very interested for Jain archaeologists also. Then after the Aksumite period, there is a medieval period. A medieval period is covered from 1270 to 1769. Generally, this period was known by era of conflict and era of conspiracy. There was different conflicts during these periods, and there was also the different conspiracy during this period. Then the first source of conflict during this period is a restoration of power. Then there is a restoration of Solomonic line to power. Solomonic power means Aksumite kingdoms, particularly the Aksumite kingdoms, related themselves directly with Solomon, king of Solomon, Jerusalem. Then the Lalibaland kingdoms also related their lines with another dynasty. Then now it came to restore this power, this Solomonic dynasty into power. Then this is the source of conflict, one source of conflict during that period. The second one is relation with the South people. Actually, the Aksumite period started to expand their dynasty to the south. Then during these expansions, there was some conflict with the South peoples like Oromo peoples. Then again, during these periods, the Catholic also came to Ethiopia. There is a conflict with them. At the same time, the Muslims also expanded from the eastern part of Ethiopia to the northern, the central and northern part of Ethiopia. Then during these expansions, there was some conflicts. Therefore, generally, during this period, the source of conflict is one, restoration of Solomonic dynasty to power. Second, relations with South people. Third, the rise of Oromo people, expansion of Oromo people. Third is challenges with Muslims and Catholics. Then there is a big civilization during this time that is known by Gondarian period. Then now is Gondarian period mostly seems like Red Fort in India, just like Red Fort. This is Gondarian period civilizations, a big castle, a big compound of castle, then different kings at that period. Actually, this period is known as era of princes. Then different princes built different kind of castles in one compound, just like Red Fort. Then this is also good for Indian historians to relate the architectural similarity between India and Ethiopia. Then the modern history also, the modern history of Ethiopia is covered from 1855 to 1974. Then this period is known by foreign expansion, foreign expeditions, different foreign countries like Italia, like Egypt, Sudan, and so on came to Ethiopia, tries to expedite Ethiopia. Then also this period is also known by nation buildings. These foreign expeditions and nation buildings were the source of conflict during this period. Then the first one is the Theodros, King Theodros, 1855 and 1868. He ruled Ethiopia. Then during this period, during the period of Theodros, the source of conflict is religious conflict. Theodros, the relationship between King Theodros and Ethiopian Orthodox Church. This relationship was not good at that time because of land and because of resource. Therefore, during this period, the source of conflict is religious conflicts. At the same time, during Johannes period, Johannes also, King Emperor of Johannes, ruled Ethiopia from 1872 to 1889. Then the relations with the Muslims also was not good at that time to some extent. Therefore, the source of conflict, the internal conflict, not a foreign conflict, this one, the internal conflict, source of internal conflict is relation with Muslims and relation with Orthodox churches. Then in other two internal conflicts, also there was an external conflict, particularly during the period of Tedros and Napier expeditions, a Britain expedition to Ethiopia. Then this is also a source of conflict. Then because of that conflict, Tedros suicide himself. Then suicide himself. Then the Britain's able to control Ethiopia for a short period of time. Then at the same time, during Johannes period also, Egyptians was a source of conflict for Ethiopia. That conflict still the Egyptians' conflict with Ethiopia is the waters, the source of Blue Nile waters. Actually, Ethiopia is a source of Blue Nile waters here. Blue Nile in Ethiopia is known by Abai. Abai River is a big tributary for White Niles. Then because of that one and other issues, in addition to these waters and other issue, became a source of conflict for Ethiopian. Another is Menelik, 1889 to 1930. He ruled Ethiopia during this period. Then Again, the Italians was the source of conflict during this period. Then, as you know, Battle of Adwa is a very known battles, especially for Africans. Then this is one of source of conflict during that period. Then during this period, the source of conflict was the source of internal conflict was the expansion of Menelik to south and the expansion of Menelik to western part of Ethiopia due to build of nations. Then during this nation building, Menelik was expanded to Walaita states. Then it's become a source of conflict. And again, Menelik was also expanded in Arsi state. Then that was a source of conflict. At the same time, Menelik was expanded to Harar and Jimma. Then this is at that time this is a source of conflict. These expansions, but some especially the expansion of Menelik to Oromo peoples, Jimma and Oromo peoples. Still, this is still in the present periods also a source of conflict. This expansion was a source of conflict still in the present time. Then during Haile Selassie period, they're especially known by internal source of conflicts. Even in, there was external conflict, external source of conflicts with Italians, but particularly in internal cases where we were suffered. Then some rebellions, some oppositions stand from Bali peasants, from Tigray peasants, and from Gojam peasants. At the same time, some massive movement from Ethiopian students, and again from military forces also came some oppositions on regime of Haile Selassie. Then the contemporary history of Ethiopia is from 1975, after the fall of Haile Selassie, up to the present periods. Then these periods, also known for, especially for Ethiopians, is era of civil wars. We passed in a severe civil war from and again road to democratizations and federalisms. But these democratization and federalisms not smooth. There is some challenges on that period. Then this period is divided into two. The first one is the period of Derg. Derg is a military junta. Then this period is already covered from 1975 to 1991. Then the period of EPRDF, Ethiopian People Revolutionary Democratic Front. This is it is a ruling party from 1991 to present. Similar, still present also a part of EPRDF, but I will try to explain later this one. Then during the period of Derg, it is a military junta. This is already it's ruled Ethiopia from 1975 to 1991. Then this era is mostly known by a civil war between two brotherhood from ruling party and the opposition groups. And there was also disaster famine. Ethiopia is this one is a very disaster famine for Ethiopia. Then also there was a political crisis. Generally, political crisis have seen during this period. Then after the end of Derg, the EPRDF came to Ethiopia in 1991. Then they started to road of democratizations and federalism. But during these periods, the PRDF introduced so many things for Ethiopia, especially human rights and democratic rights. but this is a very infant period for Ethiopia. The introduction is a very infant period. Then even during implementation, there was so many challenges. Then during this period, people started to request human rights. The introduction of human rights came to Ethiopia because of EPRDF, but the peoples also requested human rights. That means perfect human rights, some additional human rights, then democratic rights. Particularly into 2005, there was some election in Ethiopia. Then because of that election, there was massive people demonstrations. And again, 2015 also, an election period in Ethiopia, then the peoples of Ethiopia requested some human rights and democratic rights during that period. Then, and also during these periods, source of conflict is again a request of human rights and democratic rights, particularly the Oromo peoples requested different human rights and different democratic rights that ruled by their own peoples, then ruled their own resources and so on. Then during this period, some group from Oromo peoples, like Oromo Liberation Front, started armed struggle in different parts of Ethiopia. This one is some of the picture of Oromo Liberation Front fighters. This one is the Oromo peoples demonstrate their opposition during very well known public celebrations. That means Recha public celebrations. These ones before 3 years ago. Actually, after a week. After a week, there will be some celebration. Recha will be celebrated after a week. This one is the causality and the date during that celebration, during that opposition time. Then during this period also, source of conflict for Ethiopia is extreme ethnic belief, extreme ethnic feelings. Then especially for Oromo peoples, there is extreme ethnic feelings in Oromo and other peoples. Then this is a source of conflict that period. Then the EPRDF is divided into two. From 1991 to 270 to 2070 is the government is fully governed and ruled by EPRDF. But because of this different public opposition, the EPRDF transformed to transition period. This transition period is from 2080 to present. To the present times, this transition period is ruled by another political party. Then this political party is disintegrated from EPRDF. The name of this political party is Prosperity Party. The president of this party is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Then during these periods, also some source of conflict have seen some very dangerous source of conflict. The first one is military power competition among regional states. As we know, in Ethiopia, there is around 10 regional states in Ethiopia. Then these regional states has autonomous power, their own policies, and so on. But especially during this, the last 5 years, these regional states started to establish their own special force. This one is the special force of Tigray. This one was the special force of Oromia region. This one is the special force of Amara region. Then other 7 regions also have their own special forces. Then these regional states are ethnic-based regional states. We have seen some extreme ethnic fleeings. Then the establishment of these military forces also very dangerous for future Ethiopia, I think so. The second source of conflict at this time is the fake news in fake news and hate speech. This fake news maybe in a social media. Sometimes this fake news and hate speech in main media streams. These main media streams governed by ruling parties, governed by regional parties also. Then another source of conflict during this period is some killing of influential civilians and government officials. These 3 persons also killed last year. This one is the Lieutenant General Sare. This one is Dr. Ambacho, the president of Amhara regions. Then, and again, this one is killed before 2 years ago. Engineer Semenyo Bekele. This Engineer Semenyo Bekele is an engineer and the head of Renaissance Dam in Ethiopia. Then this one is also very famous singers in Ethiopia, then influential singers, particularly for Oromo peoples. Then we don't know who killed them. Still, the government is under investigations. But these influential peoples also killed because of the killing of these influential peoples. Some public oppositions and demonstration arised in different parts of the country. Another source of conflict during this transition period is ethnic-based mass killing and property destruction. This property destruction and mass people killing is done before 2 months ago in a southern part of Ethiopia known Shashamene. Then this also a source of conflict currently a source of conflict in Ethiopia. Another is corruptions, also a source of conflict in Ethiopia. Unemployment and extreme poverty. These are a source of conflict. A number of peoples are unemployed peoples. Then the resource of the country also not distributed fairly. Then in Ethiopia there is extreme poverty. Therefore, this is a source of conflict for Ethiopia. Therefore, currently we Ethiopians are living in a very paradoxical situations. There is high corruption, nepotism, and unfair resource distribution throughout the country. Then also extreme viewpoints of ethnicity and hate speech. Then heteros violence and mass killing in different parts of the country. Then this is a very paradoxical living condition for us. So how to solve these all social, political, and economic crises? Different scholars, different social affairs, different politicians, economists, and others also suggested different resolution mechanism for this crisis. But for me, this one is maybe a scientific political analysis, social affair analysis, economist analysis. But for me, I also suggested that in addition to that mechanisms, I also suggested that the following 3 major Jain metaphysics thoughts, like non-violence, ahimsa, non-possessions, apurika, and non-absolutism, anikantana. These are the very the 3 major Jain metaphysics thoughts. Therefore, if we applied these 3 major Jain metaphysics thoughts for Ethiopian political, social, and economic situation, we can easily solve the current political, economical, and social crisis of Ethiopia. Then how to relate this thoughts with current conflicts or current conflict resolution mechanism in Ethiopia? The first one is the first very known very known Jain ideology is non-violence. Non-violence also applied in a political situations. That means non-resistance is a part of non-violence. Therefore, prohibition of physical violence, during public demonstration, during public oppositions. At the same time, prohibition of physical violence from government officials, especially from police, military forces, and other security forces during public oppositions or public demonstration period. Then non-resistance is a very known Jain ideology. When we applied non-resistance during public demonstrations and public opposition, both sides, both from opposition opposers and the government security forces. The second one is selective non-violence. This means refusal to participate in ethnic-based civil war and killing of innocent people and property destructions practices. Then the people, especially the young Ethiopians, should refuse to participate in ethnic-based civil war. At the same time, killing of innocent people, not contribute for killing of innocent peoples and property destructions, property destruction in different events. The third one is moral resistance, respects our norms. We have norm, we have morals, we have ethical values. Then we have to respect our moral norms and ethical values. Then because especially particularly the young generation should respect the norms, the morals and ethical values of his descendants. Another is action of reconciliation. It means reconciliation between political parties. We have different political parties. The political parties should reconciliate themselves, should sit and discuss their challenges there and their problems, rather than try to solve and try to influence their interests on the people through war or through civil wars. Then reconciliations also reconciliation between local communities. Local communities also sit and discuss on the situations. Then at the same times encourage the local communities to solve their problem by their own traditional values. Then action of reconciliation is also a kind of non-violence mechanism. Then another one is passive and peaceful resistance. If it might be problems on the government, it might be problems on the political parties, but the people should demonstrate their strike peacefully without violent action. Then this one is a passive and peaceful resistance. Then this one may be adopted from Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi also exercised such kind of demonstration. Then another is well-known Gandhian non-violence. That means elimination of violence from self, elimination of violence from self, from social, from political, and from economic environments. This is very important, particularly elimination of violence from self, from ourselves. First, we are free from violent action, from violent thoughts. Then we have to eliminate themselves from any violent thought, violent actions. Another is non-absolutism. How to relate the non-absolutism ideology with Ethiopian context. Particularly, we Ethiopian is diversified. We are diversified in community. We are diversified in language. We are diversified in religion. We are diversified in ethnicity. Therefore, diversity is a fact of our life. We have to accept this one. Diversity is our fact, our life. Then we have to accept it, this one. Diversity with respect. Diversity with respect others, other religions, other languages, other ethnic groups. This is, we have to relate the non-absolutism with diversity of Ethiopia. And again, we have diversified in a political, economical, social policies. Then in Ethiopia, we have also very known political groups now. The first one is TPLF, OLF, and Oromo Federation Congress. And this one is the another one political party. Then this one is Prosperity Party. Then this is they have also their own supporters and other things, but we have to believe this political party should be believed in diversity of political idea, with multiplicity viewpoint of economic policy, with multiplicity viewpoint of political policies, and so on. Then this government should give respect for non-absolutism. That means multiple viewpoints of political or economical or social politics. And other, we are in terms of religion, we are also diversified. We have Christian communities in Ethiopia, and again we have Catholic Christian communities also. We have Muslim communities. Then it's maybe we'll start the Jain communities also in Ethiopia. Therefore, we should give respect for all religions. We have to give respect for all religions in Ethiopia. We have to give what you call it. We have to give freedom for all religious groups to exercise their belief without any influences in Ethiopia. Then we are also diversified. This is directly related with non-absolutism Jain ideology. Another is the non-possession. Non-possession also one very known Jain ideology. Then it's also divided in psychic and material processes. Then particularly in Ethiopia, then there is some tries to create some inferiority and superiority community in Ethiopia. Then as a psychic non-possessions, all we Ethiopians have equal social status. Then there is no any superior community in Ethiopia. At the same time, there is no any inferior community in Ethiopia. We have to respect all communities in terms of social status. Then this is a kind of psychic non-possession. Another is material non-possession. This material non-possession is directly related with corruption. Corruption is possession with money, or corruption is possession also with another issues. Then we have to free from corruption. We have to free from nepotism and racial practices. We have to free from embezzlement, and we have to free from feeling of mine. Particularly, this feeling of mine is now currently exercised in Ethiopia. Feeling of mine, this region is mine. Then the remain ethnic groups, you have to out from my regions. This is my resource. This is my such kind of exercise is such kind of exercise have seen in Ethiopia, particularly in a current situation. Then this one is feeling of mine is a source of conflict in Ethiopia. Therefore, we have to process. We have to free from process, material process, and at the same time, we have to free from psychic processes in order to resolve our conflict. finally, I want to finalize my presentation with this very known proverb. It's derived from Mahatma Gandhi. I quote from Shuganshi Jain book. Then I opposed the scene, not the sinner. Then it is very interesting for me. That's I try to present here. Thank you very much for your patience and follow of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Solomon. Very nice talk. Very nice. And I'm shared all the conflicts and compounded with the ideology of the Jainism and how the Jainism principles, they can solve it. So now it is time, Professor Solomon, now it is time for questions. There is a first question by Anil Jain. Mr. Anil Jain from Delhi. Anil ji Jain साहब जरा प्रश्न पूछिए, अनम्यूट करिए.
Very good afternoon, Mr. Solomon. You have given, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Solomon, you have given a very, very nice and very elaborate presentation of Ethiopia. As I know, Ethiopia, it used to be known as cradle of mankind. And
Yes.
it is famous for centuries old fossils. And particularly in that country, the source of archaeological material, which you have just demonstrated, which is towards Jainism, is just a swastik and Siddhisila. My question is basically from you, that particularly in the country in which you are today, you are really having so many sources of conflicts coming out from corruptions and so many other things, including lot of resistance coming through various sources. How many Jains are there in your country today? Number one. And number two, if this material alone, which is coming into the churches, has made you to make a belief that Jainism did exist there, then my question is, what do you think that which particular era or which particular period this Jainism was present there in your country based on certain facts or figures which you must have found out by now? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. Your first question is how many Jains now in Ethiopia? Actually, we don't know. We don't know the number. But even the introduction of Jain is start before 5 years ago, I think, so in Ethiopia. Then by Jain Komar, I think before 5 years 5 or 3 years ago, they came a group of Jain community in Ethiopia. Then they present some archaeological evidences of some archaeological excavation done in Ethiopia, then present for Mekelle University community and others. But we don't know the number of the Jains. But still, our belief is there is some connection with Ethiopians and Indian civilization during Aksumites and Zaugiye dynasty period. Why we say this one? Because of some material evidences. Siddhisila also found around Wukro, very near to Mekelle. Then around Wukro archaeological sites by the Jain communities, they started to investigate the relationships between Jain and Ethiopian community during that time. And again, the swastika also depicted on different part of architectural heritage of Ethiopia, like Aksum, like Lalibela, but still needs deeper study, how these depictions came to, why this symbol is depicted on Lalibela and Aksum. But still, based on different literatures, particularly focusing on Ethiopia, there was no Jain religion in Ethiopia, but still material evidence is there. But in document, no Jain religion in Ethiopia.
Professor Solomon, if you
Okay.
kindly permit, then I will reply to his question, Mr. Anil Jain question.
Okay.
Okay. Anil ji, what I think you had not attended the first inaugural session on 16 August. 16 अगस्त को शायद आपने ज्वाइन नहीं किया होगा when I gave a keynote address about the exploration and evidences of Jainism in Ethiopia. I don't know whether you had joined at that time or no.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't know. Actually, I take you back to the 2017, 2017, when we started exploration and we organized a symposium with this Mekelle University Department of History and Philosophy and all archaeology, etc. And there we found at that time almost a team of about 15 to 17 Jain scholars. We visited Yeha, Axiom, and we found this Chandraprabhu temple, then many other signatures at different places also, and I gave all evidences. That is the kind of a situation in Lalibela, etc. There are many, signatures of Jainism. Now, how you asked how it happened in Axiom, so I gave that Ethiopia is the new name, but earlier 3,300 years before present, actually the Sabian culture, which was basically Shraman culture, very close to on the other side of the Red Sea, the Yemen and Saudi Arabia, which are the new names, but they all were under some kind of a Jain kingdom. Even the Axiom was also under the Jain kingdom. This is what the kind of exploration conclusions are there. Of course, we have not written any, in documentary form, which we are currently doing now, but better exploration, better excavations are necessary. But preliminary signatures are there, which directly, confirm or give at least preliminary evidences, signatures that Jainism was existing 3,300 years before present. That is the, response to your question number 2. You asked one very first question that how many Jains are there? After 2010, when government of India gave freedom and Ethiopian government gave freedom for industries, so currently 50 Jain families are there in Ethiopia, and they all went for the industries. So there are many manufacturing the paints. There are many industries, and they are owned by the Jain community. So the entry of Jain community is very recent in last 10 years, not many, but Jainism was there long back, say 3,300 years back, as a whole country. A whole this what we call as Ethiopia now. The most of the North Ethiopia was dominated by the Jain community. Thank you very much.
Sir, now, do they have Vedic culture also present here?
At that time, the Vedic culture was not existing in Ethiopia. Only the Jain culture, and even in their Sabian language and Sabian inscriptions on the stones, they reveal, Jainism related. That is what Professor Solomon showed also today, inscription over there. And me, under the leadership of Sri Nirmal Kumarji Sethi, we 17 people, including him, 17 people visited, and I visited Ethiopia 3-4 times, and I started exploring this moon temple, Chanda Prabhu ji ka jo mandir hai, that is in Yeha. That first was explored, and then second time whole team actually explored in a greater detail. I had presented, and I presented also on the 30th of August, 3 weeks before, the similar kind of thing even in America also, in South America, in Peru. Currently, I have given only evidences in Peru about the Caral civilization, which was very old, almost 7,000 to 10,000 years before present. So perhaps I understand with this question that you have started to join this our international webinar very recently, and perhaps you are not aware. But definitely, I'm very thankful to you asking this question, so memories are again refreshed to the all whole audience. Now, today's our guest of honor is पदम कुमार जी पाटनी साहब. कल मैंने उनको प्रॉमिस किया था, and I will invite him to speak for 5 minutes to Padam Kumar ji Patni, and then Ram Gopal ji Jain from California. Padam Kumar ji Patni, he is from Dubai, and he is also very much interested to participate in such kind of exploration and of Jainism in different parts of the Gulf countries. So I humbly and sincerely invite, मैं आदर पूर्वक सम्मान पूर्वक श्री पदम कुमार जी पाटनी साहब को इनवाइट करता हूं कि वो 5 मिनट, अधिक समय नहीं लें क्योंकि आज हमें बंद भी जल्दी करना है, तो आप 5 मिनट जरा आपका आशीर्वचन चाहते हैं. प्लीज गिव योर काइंड ब्लेसिंग्स. देन आई विल टेक राम गोपाल जी फॉर टू शो सम बुक टू प्रोफेसर शहनाज हुस्न जहां, and then finally I will invite to Shri Nirmal Kumar ji Sethi, Babuji ko I will invite for final blessings from him. So Shri Padam Kumar ji Patni साहब, आपसे आग्रह है, कृपया अपनी बात रखें. मिस्टर पाटनी.
जय जिनेंद्र.
जय जिनेंद्र. आप अपना कैमरा सेंटर में करिए. यस, लिटिल बिट मोर. यस यस, लिटिल मोर. जी बिल्कुल सही. ओके ओके ओके.
जय जिनेंद्र.
हाँ, आप बताइए. जय जिनेंद्र. बोलिए बोलिए, आवाज आ रही है आपकी.
हाँ. डॉक्टर राजमल जी जैन और श्रद्धेय श्री निर्मल कुमार जी शेट्टी, प्रेसिडेंट ऑल इंडिया अखिल भारतीय दिगंबर जैन महासभा, उनकी ब्लेसिंग से ये सब काम हो रहा है और आप सहयोग दे रहे हैं और काफी लोग आपके साथ हैं. आपने इथोपिया के बारे में भी बताया. मैं आई कुड नॉट बिलीव दैट वहां पर चंदापुर भगवान का मंदिर भी है. बहुत अच्छी बात आपने बताई. अभी हम लोग कभी सोच सकते हैं कि इथोपिया को विजिट करना चाहिए. वी शुड कनेक्ट द इथोपिया प्रोफेसर सोलोमन, so he can connect us India and Ethiopia, and our 10 families from India all are Jain. We are having the list of that Jain parivars. राजमल जी,
हाँ जी, हाँ,
लिस्ट है, तो कैन यू शेयर इन माय व्हाट्सएप, और एवरीबॉडी शुड नो. तो अपन क्या है, कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं और वी कैन डेवलप जैनिज्म throughout the world. And Solomon has shown the Prasprogroh Jivanam symbol. I am really, मेरा वो जो छाती है 26 इंच से 56 इंच हो गया है. इतना इस सिंबल को देखने से, तो हम लोग जब सब चीजें अपनी देखते हैं लेकिन अपन लोग उसको अमल नहीं करते हैं. अपन लोग उसके बारे में बस अभी आपके साथ शेयर किया, बाद में भूल गए. तो हम लोगों को कनेक्टिविटी रहनी चाहिए. ऑलवेज अपने जितने प्रोग्राम है वहां पर इथोपियंस को, जो मिस्टर सोलमैन है, प्रोफेसर सोलमैन है, उनको इनवाइट करें, उनको बताएं, तो ही कैन अंडरस्टैंड. मिस्टर सोलमैन, हैव यू विजिटेड इंडिया?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Have you visited Dubai?
No, no.
No, so I am inviting you to visit Dubai. Here is also Jainism and other cultures also. We can meet. So many families are here. Here at least.
Thank you very much.
500 to 600 families of Jains here. So we can meet and have a plan with Babuji, means Nirmal ji Shetty. You can come along with Nirmal Kumar ji Shetty, Rajmal ji, Anil ji, and Bhagchan ji. So I am inviting all of you. So we can share the culture.
Thank you.
And we can develop. तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट यही है कि आप है जरा राजमल जी सर, आप है दुबई को इंक्लूड करें, और हम में आपका यहाँ पर जो गल्फ कंट्रीज में है, आई विल ट्राई टू डेवलप जैनिज्म, और आई विल सर्च is there any Jainism symbol is there? So I can tell to you.
Okay, sir.
यहाँ पर है
Okay.
तो हम करेंगे और हम आपका निर्मल जी शेट्टी का आशीर्वाद चाहते हैं कि वो ये हमें सहयोग करें और हमें मतलब इसमें अनुमोदना करें कि हम लोग ये कर सकें। धन्यवाद। जय जिनेंद्र, उत्तम क्षमा और यूनिवर्सल धर्म की जय।
जी, जय जिनेंद्र। थैंक यू वेरी मच पदम कुमार जी। बहुत बहुत मुझे बहुत उत्साह मिला, प्रोत्साहन मिला है आपकी बातों से। कल से मैं जब आपने बात की, आई एम रियली मोटिवेटेड वेरी मच। एंड नाउ आई हम्बली इनवाइट श्री राम गोपाल जी फॉर ओनली 3 मिनट्स। आप अपनी किताब जो दिखाना चाहते हैं प्रोफेसर शहनाज को, तो वो दिखाएं, लेकिन ज्यादा टाइम नहीं ले। आज मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, मुझे बंद करना है। 3 मिनट में अपनी बात खत्म कर दें। राम गोपाल जी, मेरी बात सुन रहे? अनम्यूट करिए।
Yes, start here.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me time, but time constraint is only me, not to everybody. Mr. Ajli Jain has spent more than 10 minutes for talking only. Now, this is book, the World Encyclopedia of Archaeology. It contains 400 pages colored. They have given the all details of archaeology for the whole world, including Mexico, Peru, Guatemala, Ethiopia, all South Asia, and everything. So I would suggest to every archaeologist and scholars that they should have a book available. If they don't have, they can order on Amazon India, and it is a very cheap book, and they should have one copy. I am bringing few copies from in America on my next visit now. I'll give it to one Rajmalji, one to Setiji. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ram Gopal ji. Thank you very much. And now this is what I think Professor Shehnaz Husne Jahan, she must be also having in her institute. Do you have this book, Professor Shehnaz? Do you have this book? She's still there. Yes. Do you have this book in your institute?
No, we don't have. Maybe we order now. Yeah.
Okay. Please order through Amazon. Okay, now there is one more question from number 3. राहुल बेटा, एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन है कोई नंबर 3 से, किसका है ये? Yes, please ask your question.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
I introduce myself. My name is Dhananjay Jain. I was working in Gulf for the past 15 years. I was a soldier. I was working with the mud and sand and everywhere. I happened to land in your Zoom meeting by someone else. It is very, very pleasure to hear that those places also there were traces of Jainism. After my service there in army, I just landed in Tamil Nadu, my original place. I joined to a organization called Lights of Walk, where we are all searching for the earlier traces of Jainism. And we are very successful also. We have very limited sources and we have very limited operations. And we cry that nobody is helping us from North. And still, if I think that the way you are all conducting and you are all doing the job, it's great and great and great. And I absolutely say my wishes to Mr. Solomon, the presenter today, and you yourself, Mr. Rajmalji and Nirmalji Jain, and everyone who are all doing this particular job, where we were doing a very long time. Our organization has been started in 2015, and we have explored more than 300 sites, and we have a list of 180 leftover idols, Jain idols. As you know, the South India is completely ruled and extremely conducted by our Jainism and Jain Maharajas. After the changes of Vaishnavite and other things, all are left over. There was a writing in Tamil where if you travel around 10 kilometers in every direction, if you turn around a piece of boulder, it will be a Jainism traces. So we are all trying to do that a lot, and it's a very immense pleasure to.
Yes. You are not audible now. Now you are not audible properly. Please keep a distance of the mic.
I happen to live with those Ethiopia people. They were predominant. Okay. Is it audible, sir, now?
Now it is audible, yes. Please keep some distance. Please keep some distance of your.
Thank you so much for your tips, because you are giving good information for how to handle this telephone and other Zoom meetings. Very nice of you, sir. So
thank you.
It is immense pleasure, sir. I really great chance to join with you, and I salute to everyone, those who are all the specialists over here today who presented very nicely. And I happen to be with Ethiopian Eritrean people. Those predominantly they were Christians, and it is and one time there was a who told me that if you don't take vegetarian, you will die. Sure, this was the words from an Ethiopian when I was living there in my mess. Because if I came to know from your side, in your place, in your soil, there is non-violence. There is non-violence. I really happy to hear you the news from Mr. Solomon, and I'm thankful to everyone, all the jury, and I thankful to everybody who gave me the time to speak. Actually, if we find time, we'll have an interactive session with Aimsa. We are doing a very nice job in South India, and we were crying. Nobody was helping from the north. That nobody is trying to help us to, because we need some fund, we need some effort, we need some
sorry, Dharmendra ji, I am sorry to intervene, but next time I will give a time. I will invite you as a guest of honor. But in today's meeting now, because there are still further questions and I cannot give you too much time. I'm sorry for that. But you can note down my mobile number. If you wish, you can note down and you can send a message. My number is 9427001972. I will repeat, 9427001972. And now there is one more question by number 2, I think, or Professor Dev Kumar. Oh, wonderful. Professor Dev Kumar. Yes.
First of all, I'm happy to see my friend Dhananjayan coming from Ahimsa Walk, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, doing a great job actually. So
okay.
I tried to share your information to most of the groups. I see it, Vasuki is also there today. I congratulate you and Bauji, Nirmal Kumar Sethi ji for the excellent job. We are global. We could see Padam ji from Dubai, Ajit Benadi ji from Germany, and so on. So many people are there. First of all, I must congratulate both Bangladesh, what is that?
Professor Shahnaz Husne Jahan.
Because I have to be very careful in pronouncing.
Yes.
Wonderful, pleasant talk, very nice. I read your biodata also, wonderful. Please see whether we can do some sort of preservation of that Bhadrabahu site. Something we need to look at it. We are very, very sentimental about it. Wonderful. Professor Solomon, wonderful, excellent talk. Make it how we can take it forward. Great ideas. I think you need to go for Nelson Mandela has been very near to you. Take it forward with Mahatma Gandhi and other things. I think we really like to see that Ethiopia is more peaceful and prosperous as it was, as Rajmalji could give us the view. So that's the only request, and involve Professor Rajmalji and other good people. Padamji has already offered, and take it forward. I think we need to bring peace there, peace and prosperity. Thank you very much, Professor Rajmalji, for giving me an opportunity. Jai Jinendra.
Thank you, Professor Dev Kumar. I think we all jointly should proceed to our government of India, and through Ministry of External Affairs, we can approach to Bangladesh government, and then we can join hands to Professor Shahnaz Husne, and for the preservation of the sites, particularly of Bhadrabahu site, Punavardhan. And I'm very much confident, and Professor Shahnaz Husne, we need her cooperation. We solicit actually her cooperation. That's why I told that we should start also some collaborative research studies, and we should help her also. Now, there are many questions. There are many questions for Professor Shahnaz Husne. I think from Germany. Ajit Bernardi, I will request you only very brief question because I don't have much time today. Professor, yes, Ajit Banerjee, we can hear you. Please unmute your mic. Unmute.
You have to unmute your mic, sir.
Hello. Ajit Banerjee, you have to unmute your mic. Please unmute your mic.
No.
No. No.
Just, the microphone.
Your mic.
Left side below. Mute, unmute.
Go to the left side. There is a button.
आया होगा, डिस्प्ले पे आया होगा, उस पे
हाँ.
क्लिक कीजिएगा.
No.
Ajit Banerjee, please see on your left side.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes. Now we can hear you.
Okay, okay. I just want to say thank you for this wonderful Zoom meeting. You know, I went to Greece with Nirmal Kumar Sethi and I also gave a lecture there. And you know, everywhere some just reminiscences of the Jainism are there. So I have to explore not much more. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor. Ajit ji, thank you very much. I am really motivated today's blessings. Now I humbly invite our President, Shri Nirmal Kumar ji Sethi, Babu ji ko amantrit karta हूँ. Please give and for his blessings and also brief noting of the today's international webinar. Nirmal Kumar ji Sethi, Babu ji, yes, Babu ji.
बोले आदिनाथ भगवान की जय.
जय.
बोलो महावीर भगवान की जय.
जय.
और बांग्लादेश में स्थित भद्र बाबू जी की जय.
जय जय.
जय भद्र बाबू जी की जय और समस्त मुनि संघ की जय.
और आप प्रोफेसर शहनाज हुस्ने की जय नहीं बोल रहे. She gave wonderful talk today.
Today's your this webinar is very successful because of our Shehnaaz Hussain Jahan. You have done great job by telling that there are proof of Bhadra Babu who born there in that site, and there is a caves also, because I read in some book British people has done this discovery, and so we are very grateful to you, Jahan, and we will like to develop that site also. And for Bangladesh, I propose that we will give you 3 scholarship to 3 students from Bangladesh. If you send them to Pune, this research institute, our Deccan College, we will give scholarship to 3 students from your side. You may decide the name of the students and their subject. We will be grateful to you for this. And second thing, that whatever thing you will like to do research work in Bangladesh, we will cooperate with you. We will cooperate with you, and we are very much highly impressed from your to the point speech. And but we will like that there should be a webinar on Bangladesh and with more details also. Now about Solomon. Solomon has become a Jain now. Solomon has become a Jain.
Yes.
Solomon, you have become a Jain.
Thank you.
You have become a Jain.
Nice.
If you, whatever you know, if you ask to our Jain, he will not able to talk about Anekantwad and about your this non-violence in so detail as you have done. So I thank you very much, Solomon. We are very grateful. It is only due to our Sugan Jain. This is achievement of our Dr. Sugan Jain, who has given you so much classes, has attended your classes there, and you have taken so much education from him. So we are very grateful to Sugan Jain. Today in our function, you will hear to wonderful thing is that our Saryu Doshi is a great archaeologist of India. She has also attended this meeting. Saryu Doshi ji, आपको बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद. Saryu Doshi ji, है कि नहीं है? Saryu Doshi ji, आपको बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद है.
अगर हो तो दिखाइए जरा एक बार उनको, उनके ऊपर कैमरा करिए. राहुल बेटा,
I saw her. Saryu Doshi is here. He is a great archaeologist of India, and we are very माने बहुत हम गौरवान्वित हैं वो आई है यहाँ पर. About Ethiopia, Mr. Solomon, you have told about 1st century to 20th century, but I say you should start with at least 1300 BC. 1300 BC to today, because because you know that we went to Almakha site. In Almakha, there is a, you have written in the outside of the temple, Germans has written that site is 700 BC or earlier. But I tell you that there is a, in the temple, we have saw one Vedi. This Vedi, this I saw to everybody, say, you see, so this Vedi, you see this Vedi is there in the temple. And there is a inscriptions in this Vedi which shows that they are 1300 BC. And another thing is that this Vedi is a common in our South India and other places where Tirthankar image is put, and then we do abhishek of that. So that abhishek is being done at that time, and the water is coming from one drain, and another drain is there. And in both the drain, there is a sign of bull. Bull is the first sign of our first Tirthankar Adinath. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
shows that that is the that is a Jain temple, and that is a, there is a 1300 BC inscriptions are there, and above all this drain there are in two places there is a sign of bull. Another thing I'm telling you, we went to the museum and there is a Siddhisila which you have shown in your thing in Iya. The same Siddhisila we found in the museum there in Almakha. We have found three Siddhisila. One is in Almakha, another in your Iya, and another is in one church. And both the three, the Siddhisila, they are similar. And you saw that we have taken the picture of those inscriptions, and we have shown here to Dr. R.K. Vasisht of Delhi University. He is a great scholar on inscription. He has told me clearly, this inscription is of 1300 BC, no doubt in it, 1300 BC. And this inscription shows that Siddhisila is a Namo Siddhanam. What we say Namo Siddhanam, the inscription also shows Namo Siddhanam. So this is very important that your all the three sides, the Siddhisila was there. About Iya, I want to tell you about Iya. Iya temple is a Jain temple. Why I am telling you? We went to see that temple. After half an hour, I told all the people that this is a Jain temple. They say, how you have told this thing like this? I am telling you now. You know that there used to be an image of Tirthankar. So suppose you imagine that Tirthankar image was about 20 feet height or like that. And there are staircases. As we do Abhishek of Tirthankara, there are staircases also there, small staircases where one used to go upside and then he used to do Abhishek of that Tirthankar image. So those staircases are there, one point. Another point is that we do Abhishek and then the water flows or the milk flows outside there. There are the drains are there in the temple. The drains are there. They prove that this was a Jain temple and the Abhishek used to carry it out on the Jain Tirthankar image because or Christian or because of Muslim, they drain or Abhishek of the image of there. So this, particularly these drains are there that shows that, and then there is an outside also. There is a drain to carry out water outside. So what from this thing, I could imagine that this was a Jain temple. Another thing, that you use the word moon. Moon is the sign of Earth Tirthankar Chandra Prabhu. Chandra Prabhu is sign in India. If you say any image in India, you see on Chandra Prabhu, you will find the sign of your moon. So you say that is a moon temple. So what I am telling you, that more research should be carried out on this thing. And third thing is that we went to the your church on the hill, and there also we got this Siddhisila also there, and we are going to have a museum there, but we could not get the permission from your government. As soon as we get the permission from the authorities, we will build that museum to preserve those articles there, ancient articles there, including Siddhisila. We will preserve them. What I am telling you that Mr. Solomon we would wanted you to come again to India, but now this corona is there. So anyhow, whenever possible, we will like. Another thing is very good thing on the inauguration day, your vice chancellor, he came, and your chairman, what you say, president, he has announced that he will give scholarship to 4 students.
Yeah.
2 for your doctorate and 2 for your PhD, like that. 4 students he gave. And I have told that I will give to each student your $1,500 to each student who will be in India, and we will help them with this money so that they can do some their other work also. So, Mr. Solomon, I'm highly impressed from your speech. So I'm telling you, you have become now Jain, more than a Jain. So I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And other people there.
थैंक यू वेरी मच बाबूजी, आपने बहुत अच्छा ब्लेसिंग्स, बहुत आशीर्वाद दिया, बहुत अच्छी बातें बताई आपने, हम बहुत आपके आभारी हैं। आपके मोटिवेशन से ही पूरा विश्व के अंदर, पूरे वर्ल्ड में ये एक्सप्लोरेशन का कार्य चल रहा है। एक्चुअली वी आर वेरी मच हाईली मोटिवेटेड and under your guidance we are doing a lot of exploration of Jainism. Now in this international webinar on the antiquity of exploring the antiquity of Jainism in Africa, America and Asia. Now the next session will be on 11th. There will be no session on 4th, that is next Sunday, because we are taking this channel for various kinds of programs related to non-violence. So on 2nd, 3rd and 4th October, there will be extensive program related to non-violence in the night from 8 to 10:30, and various international scholars will give their deliberations, including the Jain monks also. I humbly and sincerely invite you. I will send the WhatsApp message also to all of you, as well as you will receive the email from our Mahasabha office also. And we are organizing under this Ahimsa Mission Foundation, the lots of Ahimsa related webinars. So I humbly and sincerely request all of you, invite all of you to join for those 3 days programs. Now on 11th of October, we will again have this session related to international webinar for this exploring antiquity of Jainism in Asia, Africa, and America. And on that day, that is on 11th October, we will take the Cambodia. That is Professor B.L. Sethi and Professor Sonia Singh, both will talk related to the archaeological evidences as well as the Jainism signatures and the culture in Cambodia. So I also invite to all of you for 11th October session. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. I do not have too much time today because I have to close. Just in few minutes, the next program will start on Jainam channel. मैं जैनम चैनल के पारस जी, दिगंबर जैन महासभा और पर्टिकुलरली इस राहुल बेटे का बहुत बहुत आभारी हूं, जिनके वजह से हमारा कार्यक्रम सफलतापूर्वक अच्छी तरह से हो रहा है। मैं आज दोनों स्पीकर्स प्रोफेसर शहनाज हुस्ने जहां और प्रोफेसर सोलोमन दोनों का आभारी हूं कि जिन्होंने हमारी आज के इस कार्यक्रम की शोभा बढ़ाई। थैंक यू वेरी मच। जय जिनेंद्र, नमस्ते। राहुल बंद कर सकते हैं बेटा?